Learn English through story. The sculptor's masterpiece. In the ancient city of Corinth, renowned for its grand architecture and vibrant culture, there lived a sculptor named Lysander. His talent was unmatched. With a chisel and hammer, he could breathe life into marble, turning cold stone into figures so lifelike that they seemed ready to step down from their pedestals. Lysander's fame spread far and wide. Patrons from distant lands came to commission works from him, and his workshop was filled with statues of gods, heroes, and noblemen. Despite his success, Lysander remained humble, dedicating himself wholly to his craft. He lived a solitary life, focused only on perfecting his art. One day, the ruler of Corinth, King Theron, summoned Lysander to his palace. The king, a man of great ambition, had decided to commission a statue that would surpass all others in beauty and grandeur, a masterpiece that would immortalize his reign and secure his legacy for centuries to come. Lysander, King Theron began as the sculptor knelt before him. "I have heard of your extraordinary skill. I wish to commission a statue of myself, one that will be the envy of all who see it. It must be flawless, a testament to my greatness. Spare no expense, for I want this work to be the pinnacle of your career." Lysander accepted the commission, knowing that it would be the most challenging work he had ever undertaken. The king's demand for perfection weighed heavily on him, and he knew that the slightest flaw would not be tolerated. He set to work immediately, pouring all his skill and passion into the project. Months passed, and Lysander's focus on the statue consumed him. He carved the marble with meticulous care, capturing every detail of the king's likeness. But as he worked, he found himself becoming increasingly dissatisfied. The statue was technically perfect, yet something was missing: a soul, a spark that would bring it to life. One evening, as Lysander labored late into the night, an old man appeared at his workshop door. The man was dressed in simple, worn robes, his face lined with age but his eyes sharp and full of wisdom. "Good evening, Master Sculptor," the old man said, stepping inside. "I see you are hard at work." Lysander looked up from his workbench, surprised by the visitor. "Who are you, old man, and what brings you here at this hour?" The old man smiled. "I am but a humble traveler, passing through Corinth. I have heard of your great skill and could not resist the opportunity to see your work for myself." Lysander, though tired and frustrated with his progress, allowed the old man to stay. The visitor walked slowly around the workshop, examining the various statues in various stages of completion. When he came to the king's statue, he paused, studying it closely. "This is indeed a remarkable likeness," the old man said after a long silence. "But I sense that you are not satisfied with it. Am I correct?" Lysander sighed, running a hand through his hair. "You are correct, old man. The statue is flawless in form, but it lacks something essential. I have tried to infuse it with life, but it remains cold, lifeless stone." The old man nodded thoughtfully. "What if I told you that the secret to true art lies not in the perfection of form, but in the reflection of the artist's soul?" Lysander frowned. "What do you mean?" The old man continued, his voice soft but compelling. "Art is not just a display of skill, it is an expression of the artist's innermost thoughts, feelings, and experiences. To create something truly extraordinary, you must put a piece of yourself into it. You must find a way to convey not just the king's image, but the essence of what you see in him, what you feel as you create. Only then will your statue come to life." Lysander pondered the old man's words long after he had left. He realized that in his pursuit of technical perfection, He had neglected the emotional and spiritual aspects of his art. He had been so focused on satisfying the king's demands that he had forgotten to infuse the statue with the passion and meaning that drove his work. Determined to make the statue not just a symbol of the king's power, but a true masterpiece, Lysander began again. This time, he approached the work differently. He allowed himself to reflect on his own experiences, his thoughts on power, legacy, and the nature of leadership. He thought of the weight of the king's ambitions, the burden of his expectations, and the complexity of his character. As he worked, Lysander's hands moved with a new sense of purpose. He carved not just the king's physical likeness, but the essence of the monad, the strength and the flaws, the ambition and the humanity. He chiseled into the marble not just what he saw, but what he felt. The statue began to take on a life of its own, its features imbued with the depth and complexity of the king's persona. Finally, after many more months of painstaking labor, the statue was complete. It stood taller and grander than any work Lysander had ever created, yet it was more than just a marvel of technical skill. It was a work of profound emotion, a true reflection of both the subject and the artist. When the day came to present the statue to King Theron, the court gathered in the palace courtyard. The king, seated on the grand throne, awaited the unveiling with anticipation. As the cloth was pulled away, revealing the statue in all its glory, a hush fell over the crowd. The statue was breathtaking. It captured not only the king's regal bearing and commanding presence, but also something deeper, an expression of introspection, a hint of vulnerability beneath the surface. It was as if the marble had been infused with life, as if the king himself had been immortalized in stone, not just as a ruler, but as a man. For a moment, King Theron was speechless. He rose from his throne and approached the statue, his eyes wide with wonder. He walked around it, examining every detail, every contour. Finally, he turned to Lysander, his voice filled with awe. "This is more than I ever imagined, Lysander. You have not just captured my likeness, you have captured my soul. This statue will indeed be my legacy." The court erupted in applause, and Lysander felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had created something that would endure long after he was gone, a work that would be remembered not just for its beauty, but for the emotion and humanity it conveyed. But the story does not end here. For while King Theron was pleased with his statue, he began to hear whispers among the people. They marveled at the statue's lifelike quality, but they also saw in it the king's flaws and vulnerabilities. Some saw in the statue a reminder that even the most powerful rulers are, at their core, human, subject to the same fears and weaknesses as anyone else. These whispers reached the king, and though he had initially been overjoyed with the statue, he began to feel uneasy. The same qualities that had made the statue a masterpiece, its honesty, its depth, now made him uncomfortable. He had wanted to be immortalized as a god, not as a man with flaws. In his discomfort, the king summoned Lysander once more. "Lysander," he said, his tone stern, "the statue you have created is indeed magnificent, but I wish for you to make some changes. I want you to remove the expressions of doubt and vulnerability. I want to be remembered as a symbol of strength and perfection, not as a man with weaknesses." Lysander was faced with a dilemma. He had put his heart and soul into the statue, creating a work of true art that reflected the complexity of the human experience. To alter it now, to remove its essence, would be to betray his own principles as an artist. "Your Majesty," Lysander began cautiously, "what you ask is possible. But understand that in doing so, the statue will lose something vital. It will become a mere representation, a fa-tilde section 8. It will no longer be a true reflection of who you are, but an idealized image that lacks the depth of reality. The king's expression hardened. I am not interested in reality, Lysander. I am interested in legacy. Do as I command. Lysander bowed his head, torn between his loyalty to the king and his dedication to his art. He knew that if he obeyed, he would be compromising his integrity, but if he refused, he risked the king's wrath and possibly his own life. After much contemplation, Lysander made his decision. He returned to the statue, chisel in hand, but instead of altering the features as the king had ordered, he carved a small inscription at the base of the statue, hidden from immediate view. The inscription read, "In this stone, you see not only a king, but a man." Strength lies not in perfection, but in the courage to be seen as you are. When King Theron inspected the statue after Lysander's work, he found that the statue appeared unchanged. Satisfied that his wishes had been respected, he let the matter rest, unaware of the inscription that would be discovered by future generations. Over time, as the story of the statue spread, the people of Corinth came to see it as more than just a monument to their king. It became a symbol of the true nature of leadership and humanity, a reminder that to be great is not to be perfect, but to embrace one's flaws and use them to connect with others. Lysander's masterpiece stood the test of time, not because it depicted a flawless ruler, but because I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.